Okay, welcome, Victoria.
Thank you.
All right, why don't you
Nice to meet you.
Yes, you too, from very far away, but the internet
Yeah.
right next door.
Yep.
So why don't you start out by telling us a little bit about what you are up to with your business and kind of the overview of how you got to start that business.
Okay. Well, my journey has been a spiral, and it started several years ago, and it all started. I mean, I am a graphic designer. That was what the business started out as back in 2005.
Okay.
That's when I registered with the state of New York. That's when I started. That's when I got my job as a freelance art director, which I still do every month. But over the years, I felt something was missing, and I didn't want to be a graphic designer. I liked where I was, and I didn't need to have any more freelance clients. I like what I have right now. So I never really pursued going further into the graphic design. But when I was just about 40, I had an early midlife crisis, and I had been a very unhealthy adult, like most of my adult life, from 18 to, I guess, 40. I was always sick, and I was done with that. I was no longer going to work with anybody else or for anybody else, and I was going to live on my terms and try to be healthy. That was my first priority. So I started making jewelry, and I used the gemstones, like natural healing gemstones, to create my jewelry, and that was doing really well. So my business, which was creative art and design, and still is with the state, creative art and design, flipped to Creative Healing by Victoria. That was my jewelry line. As I was doing the jewelry line, I kept getting prompted to go further into the healing aspect of it. So I started doing being guided to do like energy work on my stones before a show. And that started getting me interested in Reiki. But I didn't want to, because Reiki at the time, and still is today, which drives me nuts, it's a trendy thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's a Reiki teacher. And I didn't want to get trained by somebody who was just part of that trend.
Right.
So I put that on the back burner. But I was getting really frustrated because as I was making my jewelry, I had somebody who was basically mirroring everything I did. So every step I made that I was proud of, she decided to take the same step. And it got to the point where I'm like, wait a minute, this is my life. Why are you stealing my life? So I got really frustrated. And then I had the opportunity to go to a couple retreats, and that kind of changed because I realized, wait a minute, I'm not a jewelry maker. I'm not a crafter. I'm not, the universe is telling me that I need to do more. And I realized that I was a healer and a teacher. So I started going to that. Shortly after that, my cat got sick. So I had recently been introduced to Healing Touch for Animals. And then when I had this problem, my mindset problem, I decided, you know what? Animals are my comfort zone. I'm gonna do that because I always liked animals more than people. And so I started getting trained, and I went just full gusto. And within 6 months, I got all the way certified, all the way up to level 4. And I was going to get certified, but to teach. And then I realized that I didn't want to teach Healing Touch. That wasn't where my goal was. So I didn't get certified, but I'm level 4. And through that, I had to also work with humans. And then I had another epiphany. I was like, oh, wow. Working with humans is really awesome. And so I started going towards the humans. And then my coaching academy fell into my lap. And through my coaching academy, I found my Reiki teacher. So ultimately, I was definitely meant to run into her. And then I became, at the same time of becoming a certified law of attraction coach, I also became a certified Reiki master teacher. And that's when things started. And then I started working with humans. I'm thinking that's what I needed to do. And then I was just told last year, end of last year, that I need to focus on the animals again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when everything changed. So at the end of last year, I started realizing that, because I didn't just want to be a healing touch for animals or a Reiki person for animals. That wasn't what I was meant to do. And I loved being a coach. I'm a damn good coach. And I loved doing that. And so it slowly started to evolve into where this idea that I'm going to take my coaching and take my animal work and combine them.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a long time to figure out how that was going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And just recently, it kind of all started coming into focus. One phrase actually did it, and it was train the people, rehabilitate the animals. So that's where the coaching came in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now I can go back to coaching. Now the spiral we've come back around again. And so now I'm trying to create a coaching program that for conscious animal. I don't want to call them the owners, but conscious animal guardians.
Uh-huh.
In order for me to do my ultimate goal, which is to make a better planet for these animals.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to start with the people, because the animals aren't going to give me the money. And that's kind of where I'm in. Last week, it was like I had been for like 2 months. I was just like struggling. I'm like, where is this going to go? I know I need to do this. I know this is where we have to go, but how does this come together? And then last week's challenge, it started clicking. And then that phrase, train the people, rehabilitate the animals, and boom, boom. And that's when you started to see my like excitement as I was going through the challenge, because I had a direction, and now I know that case study is important for my work. So I can show people beginning to end what my work looks like, because I do heal. I'm stacking up miracles underneath my belt. So that's a part of what I do, but I also have helped many people realize that these animals are not what you think they are.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to bring that to people and to help people have aha moments is just like great. So now it's like I tell my husband, it went from being like this gigantic football field full of dots that I needed to connect. And now I'm like half a football field now of a whole bunch of dots. Then I have to, get that smaller and actually start really connecting these dots and really find the pattern and find the where I need to go. And I've been avoiding my website because that's what I did before the animals came back. Yeah, there's that whole page of the Healing Touch for Animals, but all of my services outside of the Healing Touch, they were all for humans.
Right.
And yeah, I do all of that stuff, but do I want to only do that stuff? Because that's not what my passion is. So I just redid my my About Me page. I'm waiting for somebody to kind of give me their take, because she's the one that helped me build the first one.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm going to separate my long ass About Me page that I have into a FAQ page.
Yep.
So to separate that, so it's a little bit more digestible.
Right.
And then I have to rebrand myself, because right now it just says Reiki practitioner, but I am now an animal spirituality facilitator and energy worker. So I have to rebrand that whole thing and change the look of the website so people know I work with animals.
So
that's where I am now.
Yeah.
That's a long journey, but that's where I am now.
And I think that the neat thing about it is what it basically says is you've been on a journey of discovery. That journey has involved healing yourself, which allowed you to heal people, which allowed you to heal animals. And through that process, you developed a coaching style as well really to help people and their animals together. And essentially what you're doing now is you're healing both the human companion and the animals together almost as a team to
Exactly.
be able to essentially achieve a lot better life together through your coaching, your guidance, helping them understand each other better and to bond better as they transform to this next future for themselves.
Exactly. It's all about the relationship and how to make that relationship better with two entirely differently thinking beings.
Yes. Or people who think and often forget to respond more emotionally or tactily to their animals and pick up on their animals' needs through how they respond, right?
Yeah,
No, that's awesome. And I know
exactly. And nobody else does it. Nobody else does it. This is like something I'm creating from like the bottom up. So
no, and I think that's great. So when you think about that almost human animal combination in its perfect self or where it's going to get to eventually, what does that feel like when it works well?
well, there's two versions of that. There's the in-person version and there's the online version.
Mm-hmm.
I see myself, and this is what I'm trying to formulate the framework for, doing things like one-on-one coaching, like through Zoom, where we can discuss the relationship between the animal. They can show me, through maybe pre-recorded videos, what their animal is doing and how to relate to them and stuff like that. So I see the online way of me being able to help them face to face with coaching calls, but gearing them towards, how to relate to the animal. Typically, humans are going to have the most work because animals are pretty quick learning. So the second you make a shift in your behavior, the animal is going to shift theirs. So it's not like an animal behaviorist. This is the people behaviorist.
Yeah.
You need to get out of your head. You need to start being aware, and you need to start understanding that this animal is its own separate being with thoughts, feelings, and emotions that are separate from your own. So it's going to be a lot of in-person work like this. So that's the online, and that's still kind of sketchy, but I see a lot of relationships transforming. And then there's the in-person one. My biggest vision is I want to have my own rescue farm where I rescue animals, livestock, whatever, horses, donkeys, cows, whatever, any animal that needs to be rescued. Have a large rescue farm and actually do in-person coaching sessions with the animals for children and teenagers.
Very nice.
Because an animal will teach you more in 10 minutes than a coaching call that lasts 90 minutes will. Because they're so immediately responsive. So kind of bringing the coaching into the children, and I think we need to start reaching out to the younger generations, because they're the ones that are going to change the world, not us. We're already in our 40s and 50s, and our lives is halfway over. But these children, and then of course when you have an 8-year-old who all of a sudden learns empathy, that's going to carry with him for the rest of his life. So that's my in-person vision.
So thinking about that, we'll kind of come back to the online version, but I think the in-person version, I kind of see maybe a step in that direction with maybe there's some opportunities with people who have either rescue animals on a farm somewhere, or somebody who has a rescue agency of some kind where you could run like a day camp or something where you bring people in, and or because I've gone through the rescue dog kind of scenario, and the starting point is always, all right, everybody's trying to figure everybody else out. Chaos. animal doesn't do what you think it should do, and it doesn't think you are doing the right thing either, and you kind of struggle.
Exactly. There's that miscommunication.
Yeah, and out there are trainers, people who train animals to follow your directions, which, as you indicated earlier, is basically about training people to better work with their animals. But just kind of thinking about, particularly with rescue animals that may have gone through certain traumas and be dealing with that, they create a less predictable behavior in their human companions, and helping them through that, might be a great trial way to get people to understand, how you work with them and how you do what you do. And you could be helping, the kids who are kind of coming up through that, or do a program for at-risk youths, riding horses or something, or meeting with animals on a farm. But I think kind of that interim step to your vision of having a rescue place of your own, and running that, you might have some opportunities along the way to kind of pick a mini version of that out there.
Yeah, I actually, when we had that reach out to 3 people, I did reach out to 2 people that work with rescues. One, I don't think they understood why my message was for, so I actually have to go to a specific person. But the other one, she's like ready to go, but she hasn't responded with a time that she's available so we can actually have a chat. I'm hoping that might be a first, because these are like local rescues. They're not like the ASPCA or the SPCA. These are local, both of them are dog rescues. So that'll definitely, that'll help me bring what I do. Because the one thing is, I feel is nobody knows what I do. I created my name. What does an animal spirituality facilitator do? Well, in my new About Me page, that's like the first question. It's like, what is what I do? So I need to kind of locally show what I can do, and be able to chat and have them trust me enough to bring in. I don't want to do I just had a thought of maybe if there's an event, maybe I can, once I get more comfortable with in-person people, actually run a little like a demo or something like that. They can do it like some county fairs and stuff like that, little demos. But I don't know how that's going to present, right now. But what I can do with the rescues, if these people want to work with me and trust me to work with them, then I can help them with their foster parents that they have, their fosters. I can help them. I can be a liaison for people who do adopt one of their dogs, and if they have any issues, but I can help them be a liaison. And that's where my thought started going last week. That's what that's where it started to go. And I'm hoping that something comes of it. I have connected with horse rescues. That's a little bit different because you have more of a liability issue there. You got 1,500-pound animals, and I don't have a horse of my own. So maybe working with dogs and cats might be a good start. So that's what I'm hoping for, because I agree with you. I think rescues is a good place to start that process.
Yeah, because I think, number one, people who adopt rescue animals are more open, a lot of cases, to that understanding of their animals and wanting to understand them more, versus the family that buys the dog at the local,
Exactly.
shop, and it has a different approach going into the war versus somebody who's thinking about a rescue animal. So I like that. I think with that, start with your first one that you can get some traction with. Get in there, do what you do. Before you kind of revise your about page in any more detail, what I would suggest is go do what you do. Have somebody record it with their phone. Get some video of that. You can start to then use some of the video as little snippets on your website. You can also use that in the review process to start to see what are the changes that you're making in people and in their animals and in the relationships, and what does that look like both before, during, and after working with you? How
Yeah.
does that transform them? And then talk about and show the differences. You know, there may be some differences that you can even see on video, which is when they come in there, there's kind of a jittery, uncomfortable feel or something around their animals. And after working with them for, you know, a few days, a few weeks, a few months, there's a different feel, and you can pick
Yeah.
it up on the video, the befores and the afters. And I think that's going to do more to demonstrate what you're about and how that works in a way people can really quickly understand, that often the words are hard to really show in something that's such a feeling touch based modality.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's been probably one of the biggest stumbling blocks, is creating the language that people can understand. Um, and definitely showing. I mean, I do most of my work distance, so it's really hard to show that, because like right now I have I call them my VIP patients. I am helping a friend of mine who's given me so much over the last year. Her cat is having an issue, and I'm giving the cat the VIP treatment. We did an assessment. I'm doing nightly treatments on the animal, and I hope to add another miracle, because the last miracle I had was when I helped my mom's cat. I saved the cat's life, and I saved the cat's leg, and I even saved one toe. It was like this multiple thing. My mom was afraid that they're going to have to put the cat down, but we did a few sessions and we ended up not having to put the cat down. Then there was the thought that maybe the cat's leg's going to have to be amputated because it's going gangrene. I did my energy work. I saved the leg, but they thought they were still going to have to amputate the toes. And I said, you know what? If I can save a leg, I can save a toe. And I should have said I should have added an S to that, because I only saved one toe. But we now have a cat that's home, happy and healthy, with a full leg that's healing and one toe. And, you know, that's another miracle under my belt. And I'm so proud and honored to be a partner with that cat to help him heal himself. That's just the most amazing thing. I'm hoping to do the same with my VIP patient now. But it's hard to show that, you know. I just have results, you know. It's like,
but I think, you know, right now, and this is something that you'll be able to share as well, is I can tell by your emotion how big an impact it was, and how big an impact it was for your mom as well, to essentially be able to save her companion, who had been with her for a lot of years through a lot of ups and downs and was always there by her side, and you were able to make that happen for her.
Yeah.
It's really awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely, there's no nobler feeling. There really is, being able to transform an animal's life. And it's not about my ego. It's just that I helped the animal. It was just like, you know, because the one thing that maybe it's different from other healers, those that are more evolved understand this, but we may call ourselves healers, but we're not healing anybody. We are providing the environment for the human or the animal to heal themselves. That's all we're doing. We're facilitating. We're a channel, and we just help direct it to an area. We're not doing the healing. And so being able to know that I created a premier environment where that cat can sit there and say, you know what, I'm going to fight, and I'm going to fight now. And to see them thrive is just, it's the most amazing feeling. There's nothing better.
Yeah. Great. It's something that, you know, makes getting up and doing it every day a joy, right? Because you know you're working towards something that's bigger than you, important to someone. It's going to create something that is a benefit of you being in their lives. and really that,
And
yeah.
I've also helped transition animals, and
Mhm.
that's another thing. And that's a very beautiful
Mhm.
space to be in. And as damaging as it can be to one's emotional system,
Mhm.
transitioning an animal, it's really, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful when you can detach yourself enough to put the animal's needs ahead of your own, and to only have the intention of creating comfort
Mhm.
and love,
Yep.
and to watch them pass, and knowing that that's what we were able to offer them.
Mhm.
So I've helped 3 cats transition now, and it just gets more and more beautiful.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, it does. And I think, just like whether it's a human at that stage of their life where, you're helping them let go in the time when they have to do that for themselves and for their family. It's the same thing with an animal. And in your coaching and healing process, you're dealing with multiple people who are involved.
Yeah,
People, cats, people, dogs, people, family members, everybody's involved. And if you do it right, it allows that animal the peace and comfort to know it's going to the right place that it should be going to, and
yeah,
to the family and its companion that they're prepared for that. Both are, and you're helping them prepare and helping them walk through that together in a
yeah,
way that helps them handle it well and feel like they're doing the right things for everybody.
yes. And I have been, it's weird because I've been very prepared for this,
Hmm.
because I had in the last, from 2007
Hmm.
to 2015, I lost 9 animals.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I had to do hospice on almost every single one of them.
Hmm.
So going through the whole process, I had several cancers. I had one mystery illness. I had a couple kidney failures. Um, I was well prepared for
Hmm.
being able to help people with the transition of their animal.
Yeah. No, so I
So
think you definitely have a series of kind of services or opportunities to help. The end of life version of it, the somebody's it has some trauma that they're trying to get past, whether it's an injury or whether it's an
yeah,
ailment that may lead somewhere else. And then you also have kind of the early engagement where you might be helping somebody transition into a new family, or helping a foster family with a rescue animal, or somebody who regularly rescues animals and they bring you in to help through certain situations that they need an additional guide on. Um,
you just gave me an inspiration. I'm gonna write this down. Beginning of a relationship, uh, traumas, trauma work, and end of life work. That's 3 things that I can put on my website, and I can definitely um, uh, you know offer, I guess, packages for them. And you know because it's all about the spirituality of the animal. And like this animal that I'm working on now, he had a major traumatic injury, and now we're dealing with nerve damage and stuff like that. Well, one of the things that I do is I focus on the um, energy levels of the animal. We do the horror system and the chakra system, and the horror system is their spirituality system. That is their connection to the earth and the connection to their instinctual nature, and that needs to stay intact. When you have a trauma, like if an animal gets hit by a car or they've been abused or whatever, the hara can shift, or it can break or fray or something like that. And then you don't have that constant energy flow going between instinctual nature and the earth energy. So that's kind of what I like to focus on. And each one of these three things, like this cat, I mean, he was completely, his horror was frayed from his ground.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't connecting the way it should. And I was able to heal and repair that last night. And trauma does the same, the trauma, physical, emotional, mental, it doesn't matter what kind of trauma,
Mm-hmm.
does the same thing. And end of life, you want that connection to be strong. You want that energy. You want them to be so connected to their instinctual nature and their divine sense of being as they transition. So that's where the whole spirituality facilitator comes in. And those three things that you just popped into my head, the beginning of relationship, the trauma, the end of life, it all boils down to one core, I guess, cornerstone of my work. That's the best thing. So thank you.
No, that's awesome. I can tell that you kind of feel like you've got some kind of guidance around some of this stuff now. That's awesome.
Yeah. Because I've been helping so many of the animals that are close to me. You know, I've had my own miracles in my own house.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but my animals aren't helping other animals.
Yeah.
You know, I don't, yeah, I need to be trained, but I pretty much know what I'm doing wrong because I have trained myself to have the awareness. So I know when it's me, and I know when it's something that I have to kind of shift. But there's so many animals out there that are being abused, not intentionally.
Yeah.
You know, they have high stress levels because the owners don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't know.
Yeah.
You can't fault somebody for not you know, like half of the abuse that happens is people thinking that animals are property and they're, you know, it's, you know, or thinking that this animal should know better.
Yeah.
Well, how is the animal going to know better if you don't know better?
Yeah.
They don't think the way you do. So, you know, teaching people about the instinctual nature of animals is, I think that's going to go a long way into helping the masses.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and just make their lives better. These animals just like, yeah, we're supposed to be stewards. I mean, I don't believe Genesis in the Bible sits there and said that we need to abuse our animals because we have dominion over them. No. We're supposed to be stewards.
I think that brings a great point. You know, you have dominion over them as a protector, as a guide, as helpful. And I think back to an earlier point you made, your animals have, in essence, are helping other animals through you.
Yeah.
You are the spiritual guide between your animals, teaching you the lessons that you needed to be able to share with the animals that are in your future.
Exactly. And my animals have taught me just as much as I've taught them. So, you know, when you're dealing with the amount of, I guess, hospice situations and the amount of, you know, every animal is different. I mean, I do animal communication too, and I've done 3 horses, 2 dogs, 3 cats, and every single one of them is different from the other. They all have their own personalities. They all have their own, you know, it's amazing what they can teach us. It really is.
Well, very good. I think we covered it really well.
I know.
So just to wrap this up, for anybody who wants to get in touch with you, how would they best do that?
The best way to do that would be my Facebook profile right now. That's where I pretty much am the most. I do have a Facebook group for animal guardians.
Okay.
It's a closed group, and I share a lot of, you know, like animal heroes journeys and stuff like that. There's going to be some things coming in the future, but I'm still trying to work it all out. But that's facebook.com/creative healing for your pet.
Okay.
And that's where there's like 3 questions that you have to answer. And I won't let anybody in the group without answering that question, because I really want to know where their mindset is. I want to keep the focus of the group very narrow.
Yeah.
And I want it to be beneficial to all involved. So, yeah, my profile is Victoria Stigliano Dzuban, facebook.com, Victoria Stigliano Dzuban, and then Creative Healing for Your Pet. Those are the 2 best places until I get my website fixed. But I do have a website if you want to see the other things I do, but it's not animal focused. So
cool. No, I appreciate that, and I think this was a good session, and I appreciate
thank you
with me.
Yeah. Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate this.
All right.